Oh, all-knowing statistics table. Who is the best Baptiste player of them all right now?
Huh?
You know, that's actually quite complicated stats table. Shu looks pretty good, but what's unique about him?
Well, Yiska, in order to answer that question, you will have to look at some in-game footage and apply the eye test. Spoiler alert, his numbers across the season of Baptiste were foreshadowing of the play that might have won the Gladiators the Countdown Cup.
You know, stats table, you're actually quite right. Very often you used to say which player is better or worse, when in realistically all you're telling us is which player is being used in which way in this meta, especially now that we don't have mirror compositions anymore, and players might play into very different compositions, playing very different. So in Overwatch, in order to make sense of the numbers, we now always need to look at the footage to differentiate from the noise, meaning the numbers that catfish you into a falsehood, and the signal, the things that tell you something true about a player or a team. So what we can say from those numbers is that in comparison to other Baptiste players, Shu actually had an incredible amount of solo kills, especially early in the season. As the season progressed, he got less and less solo kills. So did he get worse? Nope, of course not. It's just that the way the Gladiators used windows improved across the season. They're always pairing Shu in setups with a ranged DPS or sometimes skewed on Zenyatta to get most of the Baptiste ultimate and thus rarely killing a target by himself. The Gladiators also of course played different setups at the time, around Lucio and Mei. Lastly, yes, also teams got wise to not ego challenge Shu.
How does that happen? How does Repel die immediately?
You can also see that Shu is league first in a lot of offensive statistics like hero damage done, final blows, eliminations, as well as critical hits per 10, meaning headshots. When it comes to healing numbers, Shu ranks around league average, giving us an idea how the Gladiators like to use Baptiste in their compositions. Keep in mind, these numbers without context may tell you something about Shu's playstyle, but it might also mostly show us what kind of compositions Gladiators played or even played against. Also keep in mind that the Gladiators are actually the best team fighting team in the league by a long shot, so better stats are to be expected. And one thing that we can be pretty confident on is that leaving Shu alone at any point is never a wise decision, and that's exactly what the statistically most successful Baptiste in Overwatch Season 4 showed us in this now legendary play against the Hunters in the Countdown Cup final. Alright, so going into the start of the fight, the teams quickly trade blows to a 4v4, while Space is also demacked and eventually chased.
Hey, Indy. What the f are you doing?
With respawn advantage, if Gladiators can turtle up, they can win the fight, but Jinmu's blade is looming. It looks like that Chendu makes the call to go for Shu, but that is a mistake they will come to regret as they push into the, on paper, most offensively minded Baptiste, who immediately snaps on Yveltal and finishes him with a beautiful and crucial fadeaway. While other players might have helped their teammates to stall card, without cooldown, Shu decides that he can impact the fight another way, flanking through the basement. This might look like the only play, but remember, Hunter's own respawn coming in puts pressure onto Shu to find a quick and decisive solution. So now first he finds Gaga. Shu beams him only with the help of a single whip shot. All the other damage you see here is Shu through his window with those beautiful dinks to be expected of the #1 Baptiste in hero damage and critical hits per 10. A quick takedown of Late Young is required as Leaf is about to re-enter the fight and Jinmu screams out his blade. Weaving in and out of his window for better angles, he puts Jinmu low mid-air. And with Scute's help, who lands an incredible 180 shield bash, the fight is won. Being in the lower third of deaths on Baptiste, he knows how to keep himself alive, and the rejoining Leaf doesn't even force the lamp out of Shu, keeping the next fight on even ground and eventually winning the Gladiators the Countdown Cup final. So now that we know what Shu is statistically capable of, leaving him free to fire through his window while without cooldowns and nobody turning him might have realistically cost the Hunters the title. So while numbers can't tell us who definitively the best Baptiste player in the league is, it may give us a hint that not too many flex supports on that night would have turned that fight the way Shu did. One thing, however, is conclusive. You should never forget about Shu.